Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it may be when you guys are tuning in to this broadcast. I am your international award-winning author, literary extraordinaire, and awe-inspiring coach. But on Fridays, I am just your pleasant Green Party member, Toneal Jackson, and we are talking politics on today. And as you can see, I have a full panel here with me, and I'm going to introduce them. I think it is clockwise for me, right? So I'm going to start with Troy, who is the chairman of the Cook County Green Party. And then we have Anna, who has come back to us. She is the Illinois Green Party state organizer. And then we have our friend David, who has been with us every week. So starting with Troy, introduce yourself. Let us know who you are and why it is that you love the Green Party.
So, as you said, thanks for having me, Toneal. As you said, I'm the chairman of the Cook County Green Party, newly elected as of December. I joined the Green Party a year and a half ago. They asked me to run for commissioner of MWRD, and I accepted that. It was not the year that we expected. When we started the election and gathering signatures, the November prior to the pandemic and all that. So it was an interesting election year. I'm a big fan of the Green Party because we're the only ones that represent opposition to the corporate duopoly. There's not another political party out there that's doing that. And so I'm happy that I've been given the opportunity to grow the Cook County Green Party because it turns out I got the third most Green Party votes nationwide. In November, and along with my other two MWRD running mates, we garnered. They were numbers 4 and 5. We garnered over 1 million votes for the Green Party, and that makes, I think, Cook County one of the strongholds of the Green Party. So I'm excited to represent the Green Party and Cook County.
That is so awesome. I'm excited to be a part of the Cook County Green Party. So I'm excited to be under your leadership. Come on, Miss Anna, you are next.
My name is Anna Schiefelbein. I'm the state organizer for the Illinois Green Party. I've been a Green Party member for about 2 years now, and I love it, and I'll never look back.
Short and sweet. Come on, David.
Wait, can we drink beer on this thing?
That's no, awesome. We can't. No, not that type of diversity today.
My name is David Rych. Thanks for having me back again. I've been having a great time here. I switched from the Libertarian Party to the Green Party right after the election last year, and I'm having a great time. I advocate all the platforms, and all the people I've met have been really great, really kind, and it's very fulfilling to be a part of it. It really is. To feel like I'm doing the right thing. For sure. When I was a Libertarian Party, only a few of them agreed with me on what counted as libertarianism. And the rest were all, corporate capitalist, whatever. And so I felt very much uncomfortable most of the time. I found myself fighting with them instead of getting along with them. And I don't think I've had a single spat with anybody in the Green Party yet. So thanks.
What is it? Italian, is it no Olive Garden when it says when you're here, your family? That's kind of how it feels with the Green Party, right? So everybody knows by now I'm Toneal, host of Toneal Talks Politics. I've been a Green Party member for November, December, January, right at 5 months. So I am so excited to be here. I love everything about the Green Party thus far. And what we have been doing, if you are just tuning in for the first time, what we are doing, we are in the midst of a 10-part series where every week we have been discussing one of the core values or key values of the Green Party. So I want to say 8 weeks ago, we started with grassroots democracy. Then we talked about social injustice, moved on to ecological wisdom, discussed nonviolence, then decentralization. Week 6, we discussed community-based economics. Last week we were doing feminism and gender equity, and today we talk respect for diversity. See, that's just in here. That wasn't written down. That's just she loves what she does. So therefore, it's just in me. So in either case, I am so excited to have such esteemed panelists with me to talk about the topic on today, respect for diversity. And as you guys are joining us, if you love what you hear, number one, we do ask that you share the video, that you tag somebody that you believe would benefit. But also, as Anna had it on there, we want you to go to the website, www.ilgp.org, so that you can become a member. If you have any questions, you can forward those questions to info@ilgp.org. And there are going to be so many different things that we talk about every single week. And if you're like, you know what, not sure if I want to join yet, but it definitely sounds awesome and interesting, you can become a volunteer by going to www.ilgp.org/volunteer. And so we're going to jump right into what we're talking about today, which is respect for diversity. So Troy, since you are the newest to the panel, we're going to start with you. When you hear that phraseology, respect for diversity, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
I think of the experience I had in grad school. I did a PhD in statistics, and I was the first in my family to get a bachelor's degree. So the whole master's and PhD route wasn't really, I wasn't even aware. I didn't know that was a thing. But there were some programs, some diversity programs for underrepresented minorities. It's Blacks and Latinos to get into STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And that's what I think of, because it is, it's really important to me, because when you look at like the best jobs in these jobs rankings of, opportunity to advance and be engaged, STEM jobs are always at the top. It used to be like actuary and engineer, and now it's, computer programmer or something. And Blacks and Latinos just don't get a big enough seat at the table when it comes to STEM jobs, and that was really drilled into our heads as we were part of cohorts of programs, the Bridge to the Doctorate program, which helped me. There's no way I could have gotten a PhD and stayed in grad school as long as you have to do that without these programs. And it was kind of mind blowing. I went to UIC, and UIC is just naturally very diverse, much like where I grew up in the southwest suburbs, just naturally very diverse. And when I moved into the corporate world, I was sort of blown away by the lack of diversity. I joke that I'm the whitest Mexican I know. But when I started, I at this company, they wanted me to be the token Mexican. And I should back up and say this company I worked for was Civis Analytics, who they made $8 million from the Democrats last year doing their analytics. And they made big news for canceling one of their employees, David Shore, an ex-colleague of mine. That he shared some academic article, and it was some articles showing that violent protests aren't good for Democrats in elections, and so that they fired him for sharing this academic article by an African-American professor, I believe at Stanford, maybe Princeton. And so it was really crazy, because here they are overreacting to some perceived attack on diversity when they were extremely racist to me when I was there. And I won't dig into all the nasty details, but when I'm your token Mexican, you're doing diversity wrong. One, and two, this was a company of 75 people and making all their money from Democrats, and the representation of Blacks and Latinos at this tech STEM company supposedly by the woke Democrats was not just non-existent, but it was easily the most racist place that I've ever worked. And I worked in public works. I worked, as a cashier, as a barista, and it was at this professional Democratic organization that was the most racist place I've ever worked. So that, to me, when I think about diversity, that's in the Green Party. I think of it as a contrast to the sort of veneer of diversity that the Democrats present, because in the Green Party there is actual real diversity, not just on race and gender and socioeconomic class, ideology as well. So for me, when I think of diversity, I think of all those things, and I think of how they contrast to the Democrats who wave that flag while they're bombing Syrians and not giving anybody a raise in the minimum wage.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Anna, why don't you jump in? When you hear respect for diversity, what comes to mind?
Well, I think it's respecting the whole political spectrum. People think, oh, red or blue. No, there's so many colors out there. Green is just one of them, but it's not just 2 or 3 or 4. There's a lot more out there. And I think like Europe, where they're very comfortable talking to each other about politics, and they can respect each other's political parties, and don't hold them back as some of the established parties tend to do with the third parties. So to me, it's respecting that that political willingness, that wanting to be part of politics. We had a ballot access that was, if everybody started at the same time with the same signature requirements and had the same deadline, that to me would be fair. And that to me would bring democracy. When we have ballot signatures and coming up for the races in 2018, the governor petitions was 5,000 to 10,000 of an established party and 25,000 for new parties and independents. And then you double that number for the signature requirements. So you're looking at a maximum of 20,000 for the established parties, and you're looking at a maximum of 50,000 for new parties and independent parties. To me, that's just not what democracy is. And so with the Green Party, I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very happy to be on the right side of history. I'm very happy to not be on a team that says, oh, go bomb these people. But do we hear any public comments about that? This is a major thing. This is not something that will form a rubber stamp. Don't say anything to upset the apple cart. No, this is very serious. And, us as a country, we're not taking foreign policy very seriously. People know that there's bombings going on, but there's no big upset. We don't hear anything about the president about why he's doing that, why we as a country are doing that. As opposed to like when World War II came out, there was a reason. And so, at least, to some people, there was a lot of people that there was a reason. That was also with Vietnam War. What was the reason behind that? And I think that was, where the protest came in, because when you looked into it, it was for the military industrial complex. It wasn't for saving people from genocide. It was money. So I think, the reasons for our actions as a country, we should be able to understand what these are. We should have a president coming forward and saying what they are. Our newspapers should be developing stories on what's going on. It shouldn't be just hidden underneath a rug and pretending like these things are not real things, that it's somewhere else. It's out of our line, out of our sight, and it's not happening. It is happening. So to me, that diversity is having enough seats at the table for everybody. That diversity is having rules of the road for talking to people, and one of those rules is the consensus decision-making process that the Illinois Green Party uses. And so everybody has their fair chance to be heard. They can talk about it, they can raise blocking concerns about it. So they just are not, they're not, if they're silent, they chose to be silent. But they definitely have their soapbox. They can come forward beyond that soapbox and tell us, what's your unique perspective? What's your experience? What can you bring to shed light on this item? And then that way everybody can hear it, and we can all decide together going forward whether or not that's a good thing. I know Troy has been working with the Lasalle Street Tax on that, on getting the different perspectives and experiences on that, and what is the best decision. And if we make it as a group, we use the consensus decision process to make that best informed decision that we can. But diversity is definitely what the Green Party is good at. We're good at having different people come in and give us their unique perspectives. And I probably talked more than I should.
You're fine. You're fine. You chimed in. That's what I asked you to do. So David, who I affectionately call Mr. Morality, and that is in the utmost respect. This seems like something that's right up your alley. Respect for diversity. When you hear it, what comes to mind?
Well, I just think of a multitude of participants involved in a single goal amongst a multitude of separate goals as well. So for example, in the Green Party, you have a multitude of different people from different areas of life, different socioeconomic classes, cultures, religions, races, so on, coming together I'm kind of taking all 10 platforms and putting them into a single goal. You can debate that up all you want. But and I think that's extremely important. Having studied horticulture, you look at nature and you see the power of the functioning of diversity in nature, and the absolute complexity of itty bitty little microbes getting together and growing everything in the planet. That's cool, and so it creates beauty amongst diversity too. Now, speaking of being moral, I do want to mention one thing. There is this paradox about tolerant people not tolerating intolerance, kind of thing. And I think that when it comes to diversity, I think it's obviously important and needs to be there, but I am not one of those people that will tolerate, say, a neo-Nazi or a white supremacist. I don't want them around me. I don't want them anywhere in my political arena. I already studied Nazism. It's bad. I'm convinced. I don't need to hear them speak anymore. So I'm saying is I've heard people say, well, you need to stop ostracizing bigots. I'm like, what? Okay, and so kind of thing. So, but yeah, diversity is extremely important and extremely powerful too, because not any single group of people with a monofocal sort of heritage or lineage can accomplish everything by themselves. You need diversity to grow as an individual, even too.
Absolutely. And just to really kind of chime in real quick before we switch gears, I agree with what everyone has said and with Troy's perspective. Just when we say diversity, I think it's so important that we hit that latter part, because a lot of times I think when most people hear diversity, they only think as it pertains to ethnicity, right? So where it's not just black and white, but then you get everything else in between. But I think that it is important to note that diversity goes beyond ethnicity. Diversity goes beyond gender. It's also, like you said, ideologies, our belief systems. But David, I am with you in that, certain people I don't necessarily, call it what you will, but I don't need to have, I agree. I will co-sign and endorse. I don't need to have any racists at the table. I already know what you feel. History has shown what you feel. You're not open to change. And I think that's also when we talk about respect for diversity, that you do respect how people feel. And so if I already know how you feel and I already know that I disagree with how you feel, then what ends up happening is you become closed-minded, right? And so I think that true respect means that you are willing to hear what someone else has to say and willing to listen, even if you are not willing to be converted, so to speak, but at least willing to hear and willing to listen of all issues across the board. And so if you guys are just now tuning in, we are talking about respect for diversity. This is the number 8 key issue of the 10 for the Green Party. And so I am joined by fellow Green Party members, Troy, Anna, and David. And if you missed the first 20 minutes, you would just have to be kind of rewind later on, but we are moving forward. Anna brought up the Lasalle Street Tax. And Troy, since we have you here, why don't you kind of tell us a little bit about what the Lasalle Street Tax is, as well as how it may play into this whole concept of respect for diversity?
Well, that's going to be tough. I don't know how to tie it into respect for diversity. I'm still doing my research on.
You just tell us about
all right.
the tax.
Yeah. So I'm still doing some more research on the LaSalle Street Tax. As I understand it, the idea is to tax financial transactions on trades, so trading stock, trading futures. You know, as I've got a YouTube video where I made abundantly clear, you know, I've got some friends from the tech world that traffic in the finance world, and I've got some friends from the manual labor world that traffic in making servers or making buildings that house servers for computers. And so, you know, when I hear the LaSalle Street Tax, the idea to tax financial transactions, you tax them where they happen. So we can't tax transactions that happen in London because we're not Great Britain or London. And so the problem that I sort of understand at a macro level, but not at a micro level, is that when you go to tax these financial transactions, I work in tech. I know that it's very easy with a few keyboard commands for me to spin up a server in Dallas or in Washington, D.C. or in Seattle or in London. And it's very easy for me to move my program that's running on my computer and have it run in Washington or have it run in London. And so when I hear this idea that we're going to tax financial transactions, that's what I think of is like, oh, if somebody's going to tax me on doing my computations, let's say, then I can run a few commands and do that somewhere else. And so what ends up happening now, you know, when you're talking about the size of a CBOE, the Chicago Board and Options Exchange, Chicago Board I don't know. You know, their server warehouse is somewhere out in the suburbs, and it's a big facility. But that's what I think. I just think of that being difficult to just like, okay, we'll just hit a button and, you know, on Friday night and spin up some servers somewhere else. And on Monday morning, those trades will happen somewhere else. And so, and maybe there's details that I'm not aware of. But that's something that we actually have to think through when we, as a Green Party, pick our fights. I don't like losing. I didn't join the Green Party because we win all the time, but I'm also not into losing battles on ideology or policy, and I'm not into losing just for the fun of it. So, and I'm also not into wasting my time. So I don't want to spin our wheels pushing on an issue that somebody's going to hit a button on Friday night and on Monday morning, like, it's an irrelevant issue, because I know from doing the environmental work in Pilsen neighborhood of Chicago, that like there's a lot of effort that goes into organizing movements. And I think we have to pick and choose our fights. And that's not one that I think is going to be a winner. And I see that The New York Stock Exchange is actually based in New Jersey, across the river, the Hudson River, and so they're now in talks to move their servers, because New Jersey wants to tax financial transactions. So this came up a few weeks ago, that they're looking to move their servers to Illinois or Indiana, and so it's like, yeah, this is the Lasalle Street Tax. For me, doesn't seem like a winning proposition. I think we could spend our time on something, on issues where we can win, and on issues like Medicare for all. And let me back up a little bit and say, like, I'm not against taxing wealth or wealthy people. I just think this particular approach to do it is not the most effective because of the technological details I just explained. How to tie that into diversity, I don't know.
Oh, let me tell you, because I got you. How you ended it was a great segue. So, like, there are diverse issues that the Green Party deals with. So we have Lasalle Street Tax, we have Medicare for all, and then we're also dealing with reparations. Am I not correct, Anna? Is that right? These are all diverse issues. So let's jump to the Medicare for all, which is what you just talked about. So Anna, let's pass that to you. Why don't you kind of come out and tell us a little bit about what Medicare for all is, and then we'll examine the diversity, if there is one with it. Otherwise, we'll go to the final topic, which is reparations. These are all, and one of the reasons, in all seriousness, why I am bringing this to the table is because in our previous 7 weeks, we have really yet to discuss some of the other key issues that the Green Party is about. Like, we've been talking about the topics or our key values, but I want for people to also know that there's more depth to the Green Party than just our values. There are actual policies that we are dealing with, actual laws and things that is a part of the Green Party as well. So even beyond liking us or wanting to join us for our key values, we want you to also know some of the things that we are working for and some of the things that we stand for. So Anna, go ahead and jump in with that Medicare for all. Tell us what that's about.
Well, Medicare for all, as most people know, it provides some kind of health care for everybody. And so we actually, Illinois Green Party is actually coalition members with the Illinois Single Payer Coalition. And we have done, they had hosted a presentation recently. And from that presentation, I learned that Medicare for all is a $3.6 trillion program. Taxpayers are already funding 66% of that. And so that leaves 1.2 trillion that needs to be funded. And then that will help provide health care for all. There's obviously more to it. It's not that easy, but that's pretty much the basics of the money part of it. And people throw around Medicare for all, and I know some Democrats are writing to Biden about him supporting Medicare for all. I think he already went on record, and he is. I didn't hear if he took that back yet, or if he did, or if he will. Try shaking his head.
Yeah, there's no way Biden's going to support Medicare for all. That is not in the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
Medicaid. He wants to offer Medicare to people who want it, and still keep the insurance company industry alive. Because he said that people, he's not going to wipe out private insurance to create Medicare for all.
Yeah.
Warren and Sanders wanted to do that. But he wants a hybrid system.
Okay, he wants a hybrid system. Yeah. It's always good to have options, but for me, in my personal opinion, it's healthcare is a human right. People should not be suffering. People should not have to lose their homes or choose to have food or pay their medical bills over food. So I definitely think that it's the least we can do for people. Give them clean water, clean air, healthcare, a place to live if they don't have a place to live. I think it's just the right thing to do. We're here on this earth. There's plenty of money, even though it's not forever. Everybody doesn't have money. We do have money in the aggregate level. So there should be no reason why people are suffering. And then with COVID is just opening up so many doors, and it's just unbelievable just how unstable we are as a country, with the economy and people losing their homes, and the water shutoffs are gonna that's gonna end soon. So they're gonna do water shutoffs. Evictions, I think, are coming up soon. So it's just bad. That why do we need to treat people like this when there is, that money going around, when lobbyists are giving Congress people thousands and millions of dollars, and they can't spare a little change for the regular person. So we are not a country with a diverse top. We're not. We have only so many people on top, and that's it. And it's so hard to get in. I get calls on the daily. Well, the Greens should do this. The Greens should do that. Okay, well, the Greens need to get on the ballot. How are we going to get on the ballot when we can't, when we're constantly being held back? People are advocating for HR 1. The filing monetary requirement is $35,000. Like, why? Why does that have to be there? Why can't we just have a fair democracy and have everybody start at the same time, with the same requirements, they have the same deadline? But it's that power that is held, and whether or not they think that they're doing the right thing, or they're doing the wrong thing. You have to progress society. We need more people with more diversity, and not just for race or sexuality. We need it across the board. We need to give everybody the same opportunity to have a seat at the table. We can have as big as a table as we want. We can have as small as a table as we want. But it's up to us to vote these people in to decide what they want. So I can talk about Medicare for All in perspective of the 2020 race. For the Illinois U.S. Senate candidate, there was 5 candidates up there. One candidate which was the Green Party candidate, David Black. He was the only candidate in favor of Medicare for All. The only candidate. We had our chance to get somebody in there who would speak for Medicare for All. People had the chance to vote for them. And not as many people did than for Durbin. And it's kind of frustrating sometimes, because the same people who are complaining about these elected official holders are the same people who are voting for them on election day. And it's like, if you don't like it, then you have a chance. We're putting our people on the ballot for you to make that decision. That's the best we can do. Is you want Medicare for All, you vote for somebody who wants Medicare for All. Don't vote for the person that doesn't want Medicare for All.
Right.
But yeah, so
when you talk about Biden going for a hybrid system, I mean, the guy's a prolific liar. They said they were going to push a $15 minimum wage, and you see how that went. They fought harder for Neera Tanden, who is a colorful character, than they did for $15 an hour minimum wage. So my favorite moment of the presidential election was the Biden Bernie Sanders election debate, where Bernie said, "Did you ever call for reducing Social Security?" And Biden said, "No, never." And he's prolific for wanting to reduce Social Security. So the guy is just lies through his teeth, as many politicians do. It's very frustrating. And they have the media that backs them up on it. That was a strong performance by Biden. Well, Trump lies prolifically, and like, oh, Trump's a huge liar. This is all, but Biden lies, and they're like, oh, well, he was a strong performance. And so when they say, oh, we want to do a hybrid of Medicare for all, I laugh at it. And the second thing I want to get at is, you talk about, set some aside or give a little so that people who don't have as much can have something. And I think, it's a very zero-sum way to look at it, because when you have a single payer program, when you have Medicare for all, it's actually cheaper. Yeah, it's a $3 trillion program, but right now we're paying $6 trillion for healthcare. So you're saving money. So you don't have to, you save money and more people get healthcare because we do it in a more intelligent system, just like every other industrialized country in the world. And how would that affect Illinois and Chicago and Cook County that's losing population? Well, I've called for Cook County Health System. My partner works for them. Would be a great place to have a pilot for Medicare for all. And can't you imagine the number of people, the number of entrepreneurs that would want to come to Cook County if they knew that they wouldn't have to worry about healthcare to start their new business? Now we're losing tons of Black people to the Sun Belt, just fleeing Chicago. That's been happening for 20 years. Everybody's like, oh, where's our population going? People don't want to live here anymore because of the taxes, because the opportunities aren't there, the lack of diversity in the opportunity. But if we were to have Medicare for all, I think we'd get a lot of people wanting to be coming back and starting businesses and working here, because they wouldn't have to worry about going broke if they break their arm. And so, I give the Chicago Democratic Socialist of America chapter a hard time because they get behind Toni Preckwinkle, who is my counterpart. She's the chairwoman of the Cook County Democratic Party. And they're all about Medicare for all. She has the power to do that. She has the power to implement Medicare for all in Cook County. And what does she do instead? Takes a large sum of money from the Illinois Hospital Association, whose big agenda item is to not allow Medicare for all. So here we have socialists that are pushing this leader that is not going to give you Medicare for all. Not only not going to give it to you, but actively taking money to make sure it doesn't happen. So to draw a contrast between the Green Party and the Democrats, and even the Chicago DSA, and I like the DSA. I think nationally they're all right, but that's not helping out diversity in Chicagoland when people are leaving here because there's no opportunity. Without any opportunity in this country, you don't got healthcare. And so you got to go somewhere where you can get a job, where you can have healthcare, and you don't have to worry about going broke if you slip on the icy sidewalk. So those are the couple things that I wanted to get out about Medicare for all, because for me it is one of the most important issues that we have. I mean, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and it reminds me of the housing crisis in 2009. And who did the Democrats? Democrats had a super majority, and who did they bail out? The banks. And so if in the middle of a housing crisis, you're going to bail out the banks to kick people out of their homes, and in the middle of a pandemic, you're not going to give people Medicare for all. Look, what do you expect is going to happen? That's the best opportunity you're going to have to get those sorts of policies, is housing for people and Medicare for people. And nope, it's not even like on the table. It's laughed off the stage. And this is just like baseline humanity in every other industrialized country in the world. So that Medicare for all is something I'm very passionate about. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No problem. Glad you got it out. David, jump in.
Which part?
I know, right? It was so much that went forth, but I mean, just like whether you want to talk about your purview on Medicare for all, or just kind of piggybacking off of either Troy or Anna, any of it. It was a lot of good stuff to pick from.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, Medicare for all obviously is important, and I agree that, health itself is a human right. Right, again, is a moral allowance. And you have the moral allowance to do anything that is good. Health is good, therefore you have a right to health. It's very simple. So there's the market of healthcare, the industry of healthcare is submissive to that right. And as a society, we need to make sure that everybody has equal access, period, end of story. Um, I think there's a multitude of different ways of going about that. I think a centralized system needs to be cautiously designed, if at all, because again, I said before, after studying system science, one of the kind of the basic things floating around in system science is that a sufficiently complex system tends to be more efficient when it's decentralized, because there's just too many variables to deal with. So you have to have, like, for example, first of all, the top 10 best healthcare systems in the world per country are all single payer in one way or another. Canada ranks number one. But the actual industry of healthcare in Canada is still privatized. The clinics, the hospitals, the doctors are still all privately employed. Canada, the government acts as just one giant insurance company. Basically, you bill the government gives you allocates the money for the bill. That's really about it. That seems very simple to me. Another option too, considering diversity and tying diversity into this, and you mentioned, Troy, about like Cook County being able to supply all its citizens with healthcare. Why aren't like local towns or municipalities or cities looking to provide healthcare for its residents? Because then you would have a massively less complex system. Of which, why isn't Chicago supply all of Chicago? Why is it a federal? It's either federal, state, your employer, or yourself. And why not, Mundelein or Grace Lake or Libertyville or wherever, Aurora? Why can't Aurora provide healthcare for its citizens? Why is that? Nobody ever talks about that. You never hear that. That seems like a fine solution to me, and seems probably even a little more doable, again, because you're minimizing the amounts of complexity within the system. Acute care centers are a big way to reduce costs and the burden on the healthcare system too, because it's something like 75% or something like that of like most of our healthcare problems, ailments are like things that can be taken care of at an ACC. But nowadays, if you don't have insurance or bad insurance or whatever else, you stub your toe, you go to the ER, you just drop $3,000. Okay, when you can go there, to the ACC and take care of most of the stuff that ails us and reduce the burden of cost on the entire system. So there's a multitude of things that can go on to make sure that every single person is covered equally and has equal access. So that's important too, because a big part of this, the injustice of our current system, is that if you have more money, you can afford better insurance, which means you get better care. And that's not okay. That's not even close to okay.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and jump in, Anna, because I saw you shaking your head. Go ahead.
No, but I just want to bring up diversity and how we handle it at the Green Party is we use the consensus decision-making process, and everybody gets a chance to talk and say what they have and what's on their mind, what they think would work, what they think will not work, and why. So it's a really nice way to have these discussions, and I was actually a Democrat for 12 years, and it was kind of my way or the highway attitude with the chairs and the people, the senior people, and it wasn't very democratic where everybody had a seat at the table, your voice heard equally. So at the Green Party, you can sit next to somebody who's been there for 20 years and you just are signed up that day. Your voice is equal. You're treated equally. You're not rank and file. You're not wait in line. There's not a pecking order. And it's so nice to be part of a group, and we're kind of like family. We all know each other. We all have fun together. We work hard. We play hard, and so it is a real pleasure to be working with the Green Party, and just knowing that what we're doing here, what we're progressing here, history is going to see that. History is going to see the Green Party was working so hard in a time when the powers that be try to hold everybody down. And so it is nice to be part of that in real life, in action, and be working with such a great group about it too.
That is awesome. So for those of you who may just be tuning in, we've been having a very lively discussion. Respect for diversity is the key issue, but the subset to that has been Medicare for all. And so as you can see, this is a topic that everybody is very passionate about. And as Anna just said, within the Green Party, there is that respect for diversity. So whether you agree or disagree, there is a point where you have a seat at the table to be able to voice your opinion. And we can sit and we can reason together and come up with some type of understanding as how we are going to proceed as a party collectively. And so in either case, if you've been hearing this discussion and you're like, I really want to join the Green Party, then we encourage you to do so. Go to our website, www.ilgp.org. Send any questions you have to info@ilgp.org. And then again, if you want to volunteer, you can go to that website. You hear me say it all the time, www.ilgp.org/volunteer. And guys, whether you know it or not, we are already at the 45-minute mark. So what I want to do is, doesn't the time just like fly by? I'm telling you, every week it flies by. So what I want to do, Troy, since you are here and you are our chairperson for the Cook County Green Party, if there are any upcoming events, I know Anna has all of like the events for everything, but I want to know specifically from you, Troy, if there's anything that's coming up with Cook County that we should know about. You have the floor now.
So we have our regular bi-monthly, as in every other month, not twice a month, Cook County Green Party meeting. It'll be at the beginning of April. Let me see what the exact date will be. April 5th, 7:30. You can go to the Illinois Green Party website or send us an email. Come to my website, join in on the meeting. I'm still new to the position, just getting organized. This is all volunteer, so we need volunteers. We're not taking money from corporations or special interests, so it's we need volunteers, and I think these bi-monthly meetings are super helpful to understand what's at the top of our priority list. So Medicare for all being one of them, ballot access, of course, being the most important. You need to get elected to have some power. So I'm new to the position. We're trying to get a new website together. We're getting our new moving to a new system there. It's not very exciting stuff, but as a tech guy, that's very exciting for me because I think it's a good way to get our message out there and organize our thoughts. So that I guess it's a month from it's 31 days from today. April 5th, we'll have our bi-monthly meeting. Come and participate and get your voice heard. To your point of the Democrats, I do want to touch on one thing, which is that the sheepdog policy. I think the force of the vote from Jimmy Dore, who is a Chicagoan now in Los Angeles. I don't know if you follow along the lefty media, but they had to force the vote for Medicare for all in Congress. And the so-called progressives and the DSA, who that was their position in 2019, didn't make it happen. They didn't force Nancy Pelosi. And so what I want to express to people is that the Green Party is so important to join because there are these sheepdog organizations within the Democrats that say like, oh yeah, we want to do Medicare for all, we just can't do it. Oh yeah, we want to do $15 minimum wage. Oh, we just can't do it. We got to wait for the right time. Now's not the right time. Oh, the Senate parliamentarian said no, so we just got to put it down. And you're like, this kind of sounds like the new phrase I've heard now. The one was the sheepdog. The new phrase I've heard is controlled opposition. And so when you're talking to progressives and like, oh, we'd love to do that, we just got to wait for the right time. We have a supermajority in Congress under Barack Obama. They had 60 votes, and they could have done Medicare for all. They could have done the public option. And oh no, we got to be bipartisan. And so this is sheepdog. This is a controlled opposition, and if you don't want to be a part of a controlled opposition, then come join the Cook County Green Party meeting at April 5th, and and you might hear a couple more of my rants. I'm sorry.
No, you are fine. And it's great because the other thing that I love about the Green Party is how personable we are, right? Like here it is, you're the chair for the entire county, but you have availed yourself to be a panelist for this discussion. Anna is the organizer for the state's party, yet she has availed herself. And I think it just speaks to the personality of the Green Party, the fact that we are all indeed family. And so like what's important for one is automatically important for all. And so we do support each other on every level. And so for those who may really want to be a part of something that's bigger than themselves, but also that has that familial bond, I do encourage that you join the Green Party. And as Troy was saying, you have your opportunity to partake in the Cook County meeting on April 5th, which is a Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Now, Anna, tell us a little bit more. I know you have some more events that are coming up, and I know they can find it on www.ilgp/events. But for now, I knew that page was coming. But for now, you're going to tell us anything that you want for the people to know right now that comes to mind.
Yeah, well, we have a big one coming up. Well, actually, we have two big things coming up. March 27th, which is a Saturday, it's Earth Hour, and we are launching our membership drive on that day. Really, seriously, folks, climate action. I can't stress that enough. So we're coming up on Earth Hour, the 27th. We jump into April, which is Earth Month. We're having some actions coming down, and then April 17th is a huge day. It's Illinois Green Party, our 2021 Spring Convention, and we're having a workshop between 1 and 4 in the afternoon, and it's police reform and community group. So we're going to make sure that the community groups are empowered with their decision making process, that they can identify problems, they can talk about solutions, that they can come together as a group and decide what is important on their local level. On a state level, I don't need to tell them what on their blocks need to be done. They know what needs to be done. They know everybody. They know the resources. So it's the autonomy that we, as a Green Party, we love having groups being sovereign and autonomous because they know their blocks the best. And we want to help them have strong, empowered community groups in order to get the things that they need to get done. One thing in particular is the police reform, is the community control of the police. We've seen some things come down from the state level, but is that enough? We did not end qualified immunity. There's still some things out there that I know that the Green Party would like to see on that respect. So April 17th, huge day, community police reform and community workshop. We are looking for Chicago leaders. So if you have not yet signed up, you can sign up at and take Toneal's lead at www.ilgp.org/join. Come join us. We're having fun. We're making progress. It's time.
Awesome. Now, David, when you are not being a fantastic panelist here on my show, you actually have your own show every Tuesday. So why don't you tell us about that, as well as who's going to be the guest this Tuesday?
All right. Well, speaking of police reform, I have my shows are Tuesdays, 5 to 7 p.m. Central Time. It's called Reality Radio on 98.3 FM WRLR out of Round Lake Beach, Illinois. And this past Tuesday, again, speaking of police reform, I had Clyde McLemore, the founder of Black Lives Matter chapter of Lake County, who was arrested for something he did 6 months ago in Kenosha. I had his lawyer on talking about police overreach and brutality and that kind of thing. And coming up this next Tuesday is Joyce Mason, who's an Illinois representative to, I think, the 50th district, 51st. It's right around there. And she is going to come on, and I'm going to call her out on why they dropped qualified immunity out of the police reform bill, because I think that's a bunch of nonsense. The main problem is that these cops have they get away with the things. If you want to change somebody's behavior, you hold them accountable. And they just slipped that right out of the bill at the very end. Absolutely unacceptable. So, and by the way, I'm also going to be hopefully soon starting a podcast series on policing in America. I'm just trying to figure out how to make it a little more professional than just a mushroom tapestry behind me. So I've been doing research on that topic for close to a year now, quite a bit. So Anna, if you want me to go with you to that reform thing, let me know, because I know I got a lot of information.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Okay. So yeah,
That
I guess
sounds
the House has passed a police reform bill on the federal level that includes getting rid of qualified immunity. Now, I can't imagine that these law and order Republicans are going to allow that to happen, because that's basically their muscle is the police. So we'll see what happens in the Senate. But that would be great if it was gotten rid of, because that's the biggest problem, is that these guys, they know they can get away with it, so they do. Speaking of policing in America, the inception of policing in America, at least in the northern states, these guys, I mean, they were just kind of hired thugs to go around and take care of whomever. And so they were brutal. They were bad. They just beat the hell out of people. Obviously minorities didn't fare well at all because they were allowed to. Now, over time, they got more restricted on what they were able to do, for sure. But the only reason they do less of that brutality now, they're still doing some, is because they're not allowed to. Because I assure you, if they were allowed to, they would. If the cop was allowed to just beat the hell out of people and with no consequence at all, guarantee you they would, because it takes a certain type of person to be a cop in the first place. You got to be attracted to being a power figure, an authority figure. You've got to be attracted somehow to violence in the first place. That's why you when you choose a profession, you choose it because you're attracted to it somehow. And these are the three things that cops do mostly. So yeah, I'm not a fan personally, but okay.
Well, I want to take the time to thank all three of my guests again. I can't believe that this hour has flown by, right? So again, to our chairperson of Cook County Green Party Detroit, thank you so much for coming on. And for everyone who is watching, if you want to hear, as he called it, a rant, I call it wisdom. But if you want to hear more about what Troy has to say, then join us on Monday, April 5th at our bi-monthly meeting, 7:30 p.m. No, you don't have to come anywhere. It is virtual. So you can simply go online, log in, so that way you can hear more about the Green Party. And then to our very own state organizer, Miss Anna, she gave you guys some great events that are coming up. So again, as you see, the Illinois Green Party, we are always doing something. We are not just an idle party doing nothing. We are actually moving, trying to affect change. So one of the first things you can do is on March 27th, which is a Saturday, you can be part of the Earth Drive, as she talked about. It's a membership drive as well. So you guys can be on the lookout for that. And then Saturday, April 17th is something that we're all excited about. That is our spring convention from 1 to 4 p.m. And we'll be discussing not just police reform, but also community groups. So if you are one that really, you're looking to make a difference and you want to be a part of an organization that will let you make that difference, then we encourage you and invite you to join the Green Party. So many times, as Anna was talking about, you go to other parties and you're just one of many. You're just one of a number. But with the Green Party, literally, you have all rights and privileges as any other member. So when you join, you have just as much say as someone who has been here for maybe 20 or 30 years longer than you. So we invite you again for those two dates, April the 17th and March 27th. And then we also encourage you to tune in this Tuesday and every Tuesday to reality radio that is hosted by our own David Rych from 5 to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So there's always going to be something that you can do within the Green Party. And if you didn't remember any of that I said, make sure you remember the website, which is www.ilgp.org. If you have questions, info at ilgp.org. If you want to volunteer, it's the website, www.ilgp.org/volunteer. Or if you want to remember or know everything that we have going on, go to the website, ilgp.org/events. We ask that you join us next week. I always tell you, we never know who the panelists will be, but we do know that there will be a panel next week, and we will be discussing personal and global responsibility. So we are so grateful to you all tuning in with us week after week as we share with you these 10 awesome key values of the Green Party. And so again, we ask if you like and what you heard, that you share the video and tag somebody that you believe would benefit from what we just discussed. So until next week, guys, you all stay inspired.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.